Welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to my predictions for WWE Day 1. A new pay-per-view for WWE, this time a pay-per-view on New Year's Day, which is an interesting one, but definitely one I'm intrigued for. It seems like one that they're keen to push, and there's lots of huge matches on the card. Hopefully it's not affected too much by the COVID cases, but let's see how it goes. And we're going to start off with Drew McIntyre versus Madcap Moss, and this is a really interesting one. You'd expect it to just be a walkover for Drew McIntyre, maybe a pay-per-view match which he'll easily win before moving on to something bigger in the lead up to WrestleMania, and that's what I expect it to be. But they seem to be liking Madcap Moss on the main roster quite a lot, so maybe just plants a little bit of doubt. But for me, now that you think of it, there's not really too much doubt that Drew McIntyre will get the win here, and I wouldn't be surprised if this gets put on the pre-show, to be honest. But moving on, Becky Lynch takes on Liv Morgan for the Raw Women's title, and obviously, when they had that match a few weeks ago on Raw, I was thinking maybe it won't make it to Day 1, but I'm really pleased that it has, because Liv Morgan, she's great, and she definitely deserves a spot on the pay-per-view. But for Becky Lynch, you kind of feel like this will be another basic retention for her before she moves on to a big match down the line at WrestleMania. So I do think it will be a Becky Lynch win, but I'm expecting it to be a really, really great match. Moving on then, The Edge takes on The Miz in a big match, and this is a really interesting one. Obviously both these have spent time away recently. The Miz obviously on Dancing in the Stars, and Edge just away for a bit, but you'd expect Edge to get the win here. It's kind of, you feel like for Edge it's another one of those ones where he just has a match just getting going again before moving on to a big program about WrestleMania. It's kind of a common theme on this card, but that's kind of where we're at. But I am expecting Edge to get the win. Next up, Cesaro and Ricochet take on Sheamus and Ridge Holland on the pre-show, and this is an interesting one. Obviously Cesaro and Ricochet, Cesaro especially, had a bit of a push earlier on in the year, but it seems to have tailed off a bit now, and Ricochet hasn't done much of note recently or in the last few years really, which is a big shame. But Sheamus, he's on a bit of a rise at the moment. Obviously Ridge Holland, new star, I think WWE wants to put them over, so it's rarity, which makes maybe it's a bit of doubt, but I do think the heels will pick up the win here, so I'm going to say Sheamus and Ridge Holland for the dub. Next up is RK Bro versus the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team titles, and this is a tough one to call actually. I think most people will just be calling a basic RKO retention, but I'm not sure it's that simple, because I do think we're going to have a WrestleMania match between Randy Orton and Riddle, but the thing is, I think it just might be a month or two too early to split them up in order to get to WrestleMania, because we know WWE don't tell long-term storylines. So therefore I'm thinking RK Bro to get the win, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a surprise title change. Next up is the Usos versus the New Day for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and for me this is actually a really hard one to call, because I feel like there is guaranteed to be at least one title change on this card, and this is probably the most likely. But then again, the Usos, the Roman Reigns stuff, it's just so good at the moment, and I don't really see WWE wants to drop it. But the New Day seem to be getting a bit of a push, when more so than normal at the moment, so it's a hard one to call, but I fancy the Usos to retain here, maybe moving on to a big match with WrestleMania between the two where the New Day win the belt. But moving on then to the WWE title match, and at the moment it's Big E versus Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley, and this is once again a hard one to call, because Bobby Lashley's come into the match and he's looked like an absolute monster, and I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted the title back on him. Kevin Owens, of course, recently re-signed, maybe they want to reward him, and Seth Rollins has just been great recently. But Big E, the champion, it'd be harsh to him to drop it this close to WrestleMania, and I don't think it will happen, at least for now. I do fancy Big E to get the win, but I also wouldn't be surprised if he lost it. Roman Reigns takes on Brock Lesnar for the Universal title in a match that I absolutely can't wait for, and obviously we've got the storyline element with Roman Reigns obviously turning on Paul Heyman, but I think that's all going to be a bit of a bait and switch, to be honest. I think this was all planned by Roman Reigns, and Paul Heyman will cost Brock Lesnar the title just as they're getting all friendly, and I do think in the end Roman Reigns will come out on top. But I can't wait for this. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, comments down below. Follow me on Twitter. Link in the description made for daily F1 news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now. It'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.